we're going to talk about building your confidence, and I'm going to give you 7 actionable steps that you can do. So this can be part of your power hour, something that you focus on for this whole week. So the number one way to build your confidence is, number one, it's very, very simple. And I know all of y'all are probably doing this right now. And what it is use your products and get a product testimony. Something that you can say, like here we are drinking our coffee, you know, and so anything where you can say, this is happening to me right now. I am so excited because, you know, I know we had like 2 people message us because they've lost over, no, 3 people have lost over like 20 pounds drinking keto coffee. So that's number one. Find something that gets you excited, use that product every single day, and share about your own result. And what I always like to do with a before and after is make it come to life. And you're like, what does that mean? Make the before and after come to life. Well, if you put a name to the before and after, if you put some sort of a story to the before and after, and if you see a before and after that's dropped on a page or whatever, and you're like, tell me more about this, you know, how did you feel, what was going on, that's gonna make your post more impactful than just like, whoa, look at these results, you know, because that's what I used to do. And I'm telling you, if you can say, Sarah was feeling depressed every time she went to the store. She knew she needed new clothes because none of her clothes in her closet that fit, but she did not want to buy a bigger size. So she decided that she was done and she was going to finally get the results that she was looking for. And so she picked a product pack that's focused on having more energy, losing weight without, you know, struggling, and making healthy swaps. And these are her 3-month results. How would it feel to go into the dressing room 3 months later and, you know, picking up a pair of pants 2 sizes smaller? Something like that is going to get way more emotion than just like, whoa, look at this, you know. So that's just one of my tips for, if you're going to be posting results pictures, try to see if you can ask them for a story to go with it. Okay, so number 2 is to stay close to the fire. So if you're watching this video, you are doing action step number 2. This helps you with your confidence because you see, wait, there are real people who hop on a live with no makeup on Monday morning to build their business. You know, this includes for us, when we got started, there was no Facebook Live. We've been doing this for 5 years, and I did not miss the Show Me the Money call. There was actually a phone call that we actually had to call into. It wasn't a live video. Yeah. And I didn't miss those because that was where my fire was like flamed. Events are really what changed our business. I know our first event, I was a diamond, so I was already feeling pretty successful going in there. I'd earned a $10,000 bonus. But whenever I saw the people on the stage, you know, the top 100 income earners, and we saw them and we were like, whoa, they're like real people. They're like teachers and stay-at-home moms. And it was just like, why can't we do this too? And so after that first event that we went to, we came home and we went double diamond immediately, and then just a few months later it was triple and presidential. And so those events made us see that, wow, these are like real people on stage. We can be up there too. So number 4, that was actually 2 and 3. So number 4 action step for your confidence is to change your thought, because believe me that we are our worst enemy. You know, the person the person in the mirror is sometimes the person who is keeping us from actually reaching our goals. And so the way that you kind of combat that is you have to talk back to the person in the mirror, and you have to change that thought process. And so they call that like daily affirmations, things that you are going to speak what you want to become. And so instead of telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I don't know enough people, I don't have enough time, then you can change and say, you know, I share value every single day so that customers and distributors are reaching out to me. You know, I make time to make my dreams happen. You know, I have an impact to make, or whatever. Like, you can come up with your own daily affirmations, and I have some that I can drop below. So that is one way. Like, instead of, because a lot of people are like, I'm so scared to go live. And then you can say like, you know, every time I go live, people get value and want to hear what I have to say. And so you like change, like they can't wait for me to go live because what I'm going to share is going to change their life. Like you have to change, like it's like I have to go live because I have something to say and my followers want to hear from me today, and so anyway, so change your thought process. How many of you are already doing daily affirmations? If you are, drop one below that you tell yourself or you have written down. Going for a promotion, I would have that written. And instead of saying I'm going for diamond or whatever, say I am diamond. Whenever we were going for presidential, this was a few years ago, but I had a big mental block with presidential. Like it was like, what? Like, this little introverted girl who's so scared to do anything, like how am I going to be able to go presidential? And so, it was like the middle of the month, so about no, it was probably further, not the 13th, it was probably more like the 18th. We still had a lot of volume that we needed to bring in. We still probably needed distributors in place. And I was like talking myself, that self-talk, like, are we going to make it? Are we not going to make it? Going back and forth in my head. And I went to church and the whole message was kind of like, you're here for a reason, like God is calling you to do this. And I was like, he is speaking directly to me. Like I need to get out of my own way. I need to buckle down. I need to do this. We still have time. And that changed my thought process. Instead of like, can we do this? It was like, no, like we are going to do this and it is going to happen. And so I went home and in my bathroom wall, I wrote down, we are presidential diamond and we earned, and I wrote, I think it was a $50,000 bonus or whatever that was attached to it. And I wrote that in big letters, like on my bathroom mirror. And I took a picture of it too, but I wanted to see it every single time I woke up. I wanted to see it every single time I walked into the bathroom. I wanted to see that up there so that I was envisioning it, and so it was actually going to happen. And so then, and whenever you change your mindset, your actions change too, and your confidence shines through because you're like, I'm going presidential, and so I'm just going to message, 10 more people because they are going to order because I'm going presidential. And so change your thought process, change your actions, but then also change your results because people are attracted to people who have confidence instead of like, hey, do you want to order? It's like, hey, I'm putting in orders right now. I know you were interested in trying the cleanse. Do you want me to grab your info real quick and get yours in? Like it's completely different and people will respond. Okay, so this we talked about number one was building a product testimony because I do believe that to be successful, you need to be a product of the product. You need to use these products. You need to order these products. You need to have these products on hand to give samples out. But the next thing is that if you're doing all that, you're going to start making some money. Even if it's just $25 wrap cash, if it's, $20 coffee cash, that cash is showing somebody else that, hey, this is a real way that I can build my income on the side, maybe as a side hustle, maybe starting as a side hustle into a full-time income, but I can do this. And what you're showing them is that it's possible. You're giving them hope that they can put gas in their car. A lot of people started because they needed gas for their car. They needed to pay for groceries. You may be right there right now. Like you're watching this and you're like, that's where I am. Like I joined because I wanted to have more cash so that I wouldn't be stressed out and just having to put, $5 in my tank that I had, I could fill up my tank and I wasn't worried about it. Or I could go to the checkout and I had enough cash to not put something back. That is real. That I had so much money in my wallet and I went from like zero money to like all this cash in my wallet. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I can do this, then this is going to change my life because I was just a stay-at-home mom who didn't have an income. And like now I have like all these, what are 20s? Who's on the $20 bill?
It's Jackson, right?
It's fine. I was rolling in the dough.
It's not quite the Benjamins.
Oh man.
It's not quite the Benjamins.
Rolling in the dough.
Is that the Jacksons, 20s. I guess?
The Jacksons.
I think it's the Jacksons. I'm going to be really embarrassed if I don't know who's on the 20.
People want to know, can you really make money with this? Like, that's what they want to know. They're like, hey, can you really make money doing this? Are you really making money? And so you can answer that question for them by showing them, I make money by selling samples. And here, I just sold these samples. I'm headed to the mailbox right now. I make money monthly with my commissions, and my commissions this month are paying for date night or pizza night or whatever, are paying for my product so that I can get healthy and get paid for it. Number 6 is to learn about this industry. Now that's something that whenever we first got started, we had no idea about. Actually, I had a negative. Does anybody else watching this, you talked badly about people who were network marketing, or you had a negative, oh man, look at them, what are they selling now?
It's that guy's problem.
Don't invite me to a party. I really am nice, I promise. But I didn't publicly or anything, but privately inside my head, I definitely had a very negative viewpoint of anybody who was selling something with an MLM type business, and that was not for me. I was above that. And so what happened was, I went from earning, I was a speech therapist so with my master's degree, so I had a really nice income, to becoming a mom and being like, ooh, I really want to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to go to work. And so then I went from large income to nothing. And so then whenever I saw my friend who was earning as much as I was as a speech therapist, but she was at home with her kids, homeschooling her kids, and I'm like, so you really can make money doing that. And so it made me rethink, okay, maybe I missed something. Maybe I was wrong. And thankfully I was wrong. And
Rachel says me.
Yes, okay. And so what I had to do was I had to educate myself. It's going to give you posture, and that's a kind of a big word of once you have confidence, nobody can if somebody messaged us and said, well, that's a scam, then we're like, okay, guys, we've been at home for the past 4 years making a full-time income with this. I think that
if anyone's scamming anyone, I'm scamming it worse.
I know, it's if it's a scam, then I think this is the best scam out there because we're getting paid. But so it's posture. So part of that, whenever you first get started, you don't have that. That's why I say start with a product so that you can say listen, I'm using these products. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling better than I have in the past 10 years, 5 years, and I get products, I pay for them. I don't think that's a scam. I think that's just what Amazon does. You get products that you pay for. So what I had to do was educate myself on this industry. Is this legit? Or, so the number 1 book I would recommend is Go Pro. That's a book that we have the audio book, but I would re-listen to that every 90 days. But I had to educate myself to give myself confidence, to give myself posture, to know that, okay, this is a legitimate way to make money right now. It's, and if somebody's it's a pyramid scam, to actually know, actually pyramid scams are illegal and we are a legitimate business that is regulated by the FTC, to be able to know, how to handle yourself. And part of that comes with education. Whenever you first get started, you don't know what you're doing. You just ordered a kit and then people are throwing negative stuff at you because that's what they do. Because anytime anybody is succeeding, other people don't like seeing people successful, That's why it's so great to be in a group like this where we cheer you on, because the world doesn't like seeing other people being successful because it shows that they're kind of not being successful, and so they're going to try to pull you down to their level. But the way that you don't do that is you educate yourself, you give yourself confidence, you have posture so that you can stand up whenever somebody, says something about network marketing, being a scam or being a pyramid scheme or whatever. And that comes through education. So like I said, I started in my first 2 weeks, I had already read Go Pro. I read Cami Dempsey's How I Retired My Husband. Adam was reading other books that I wasn't reading because he reads so much faster than me. And then there's another book that's called The Networking Revolution. That's just a whole bunch of success stories. And it just shows you oh wow, this is a legitimate business. Like, this is something that people are using right now in 2019 to change their life, to make a full-time income. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter, you know, what college you went to, or, you know, how well you did on your ACT or SAT or whatever. Like, it doesn't worry about that. It just matters that your work ethic, and then, you know, honestly, just deciding that this is what you're going to do. And the number one thing I would say is educate yourself on this industry, so that gives you posture, and like, you know who you want to be. You want to be somebody who, you know, is making a full-time income maybe with this business, or making a solid part-time income with this business, and that's going to be you, and you can decide that is you. And that goes back to that daily affirmation where you tell yourself, you know, that it is happening, and you're going to push out those self-negative thoughts. And then the very last thing that I put on here is to ignore the negative things. Like, that's, again, goes back to that posture, because, you know, I remember it kind of goes with that scarcity thought too. Like, if you have somebody who's even on your friends list who's posting negative things, I would unfollow them. Like, you really have to protect yourself from negativity. You don't need that in your life. You know, if somebody posts something negative on your post, delete it and unfriend them, unless they're like your mom, you know, like somebody you can't really unfriend. But like, you protect yourself from negativity, because those negative thoughts, you know, are going to block out your success. And so ignore the negativity. And so if there's a potential that you have who's like super negative, you don't want them on your team. Don't waste your time. Just be like, all right, you know, this is probably not a good fit for you, and I just don't want, I've even said this before, like, I just don't want to waste your time or my time, so, you know, I'm just not going to follow up anymore, because they were so negative, and it was like, they were like nitpicking everything, and it was just like, I don't have time. I don't have time for negative people. Like, I want positive people who are like trying to be better today than they were yesterday, and that's who I want on my team. And you don't really fit that. I'm not gonna tell them that, but you don't really fit that, and so I'm not gonna waste my time with you. And there's an abundance of people out there who are positive and who are looking for a way to impact the world, to make it a better place, to earn an extra income, to help their family, and that is who I want to work with. And so I'm going to find those people who are excited to hear from me. And so anyways, I wanted to save you some time, because a lot, like whenever I got started, I just remember like, you know, I don't try to change people's minds about, like, if they say it's a scam or if they say it's a pyramid scheme or whatever. I'm just like, I don't try to change their mind. Like, I don't try, like, if they're arguing with you, then you can just end the conversation. So save yourself some time. Find people who are open-minded, who are willing to be educated, like we are, because if you're in this group, then you are willing to be educated in finding a way, you know, a better way to make some extra money. And that's who you want to seek out. That's who you want to work with. And if they don't fit that, maybe it's not the right time right now, and that's okay. And so anyway, so I wanted to end with that one, as just don't waste your time on negativity and negative people, because you don't have time for that, because your success doesn't depend on them, right? And so you just don't need them. So don't waste your time on negative people, and don't let it hurt you. Like, don't like dwell on it. Like, if there's a negative thing that you see, like I said, you just delete. I don't block, but just, you know, delete as a friend. You don't need that negativity in your life. Delete those comments. You just don't need it. Like, you're worth more than that, and they just don't see the worth right now, and so they're not worth your time right now. So anyway, so I wanted to end with that. So those are 7 ways to increase your confidence. And the thing is like, this is something that I did when I first got started, because like I said, I had no confidence. I had never done anything like this before. You know, I was scared to post my own results. But by doing all this stuff, by getting my own results, by selling, you know, like I said, just selling one sample, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, I made money from my home, you know, like this actually is happening right now. Then change your self-talk. So I want to leave you, I'm going to drop some affirmations. If you can pick out like 10 that you can start every single day with, before you start your day, before you start reaching out to people, following up, before you start to post, and you change that thought process by reading or listening to those daily affirmations, then you'll see your confidence changes and shines through on your post, and people are attracted to people who know where they're going, you know. And so you don't have to be this like influencer of like 200 people. Like if you can just influence one person a day and just show them like, hey, I am doing this today, and they're like, wow, like I like the way that I like the direction that she's going, then that is very powerful.